Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Watch With Us. Bases loaded, whatever you want to call it. We're rolling it all up into one tonight right here on the first pitch of Game 3 of Texas Tech versus Texas for the Women's College World Series. I'm Blake Monroe, joined by Jeff Howe. I'm sure we'll have some other people joining us off and on, kind of like we did last night as well. But, Jeff, it's do or die tonight, man.
This is this is gonna be fun, man. I mean, we saw a heck of a game last night.
Yeah, we did.
Is Tegan Cavan against Najee Kennedy. Both these teams know each other extremely well at this point, so I'm ready. I'm locked in.
Yeah, I think everybody is. And Texas off to a good start. Already one down, just 3 pitches in. So you can't argue with that. That's pretty effective, I must say. And Texas, of course, the home team tonight. Jeff. Looks like we're going to have a ground out. Yep. So, hey, 2 up, 2 down, man. That's a lot better start than what we saw the previous 2 nights. That's for sure, where the bases got loaded right away.
Pitch count will be a huge thing for these 2 starters because especially Kennedy got up. She went over 100 last night where we're talking about during the game. It looked like going into the 7th, like she'd be probably around like 85 or 90.
Yeah, at the most
going. And that late rally got her over 100. So just execute, get your outs on time, put people away with 2 strikes.
Clean game. That's what we talked about last night, Jeff. We haven't really seen Texas play a clean game. Of course, that first night, they had 4 errors to Texas, none. Had to go back and look about last night's, but they're due. I kept saying that last night. They're due for a clean game tonight.
Hopefully no obstruction calls. Anything get in the way.
No BS obstruction calls. I was thinking of a nice way to put it. That's about as nice as I can get about it. So, already 0-2 on 7 pitches, 2 outs, as we said.
I was really hoping we'd have, softball would have won the national championship by this point, but they're in Game 3. I was really hoping we'd have baseball super regional at Dishfalk this weekend, but
oh man, wouldn't that have been nice?
That was not in the cards.
No, that's the way the cookie crumbled this go around. But hey, softball's still giving us something to hold on to before we get into that very long. It's not won't be too long, but it's still a pretty long summer break. Of course, we're only 85 days away, Jeff. Gunnar Helm days away from that kickoff in Columbus.
MJ McFarland.
Yeah.
Ashton Dorsey.
MJ McFarland. Man, I forgot all about him.
Colin Johnson for one spring was 85. Remember that?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back look over on Texas football. Of course, we do the countdown thread, and every day I post some of those players, and I was gonna go back and look and see who else I posted. Of course, this year's 85, Jeff, Emery Winston, the freshman out of Calhoun, Georgia, the tight end.
He's interesting, man. Just we only got to see 1 spring practice, but just watching him run routes, he didn't look out of place to me. And then kind of hearing bits and pieces of how his spring went.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of a factor he's going to be this year, but, I think he's got a role as like an H-back sniffer move guy in that offense for Sark.
Yeah. Well, still 1-2. What are we at on the pitch count on this at bat? It has to 11. No, 11 pitches overall, but we have to be about 6 in on this. But no, I was talking to a couple of team sources a few weeks ago, Jeff, and asking which freshman stood out the most, and he was the first one rattled off, man. I mean, that's high praise.
Yeah, man, that's I kind of liken him to that run of Oklahoma had about a decade ago, at back-to-back runs where they had Trey Millard and then they had Dimitri Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
To me, Winston's kind of one of those guys, a tight end, but if you want him to be a fullback in some situations, in the red zone, if you want to move him out, you can. So he's got some versatility. his ceiling. The thing with him though, Blake, like his ceiling is probably not. It's not as high as it is for like Nick Townsend or Jordan Washington. Like he's probably got the lowest ceiling in that room. That's not going to prevent him from being a really productive player in that offense.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Let's see.
You can avoid a 10-pitch AB is not really
no
good for it, man. I don't know about you, Blake. I appreciate a batter being able to stay alive with 2 strikes.
Yo, without a doubt. 11 pitches in now, going on to the 12th. That's insane.
Yeah, if you're Mike White, this is not what you wanted to see in the first inning. I mean, at least you don't have traffic on the bases, but you don't want Teague and Kavan running that pitch count up. 12. We're gonna look at a 12 pitch at bat.
So 80% of the pitches she's thrown so far tonight, Jeff, has been just this at bat. Isn't it? That's crazy.
It's wild, man.
Absolutely crazy. And they did end up scoring a wild pitch last night. Interesting. Because a couple of people are arguing it wasn't a wild pitch. I thought it was. And that's looks like they just showed that graphic there. It was a wild pitch last night after that hit by pitch. We might be here for an hour just at this at bat.
Lord, man.
There's a duel right here. What's impressive is she hasn't thrown a ball in a good while either. Hope I didn't just jinx her. But I've been at this 2-2 count for the last 6 pitches, probably 4, 5. Goodness. Yeah, Wood out there talking. Come on up a little bit. See if she gets it right here. Nope, call time. And by the way, I see some other questions coming in. We'll take just a little high on that one. Oh, did they have the count wrong on?
I think ESPN had it wrong.
Okay. But we'll be taking questions, football, recruiting, baseball, whatever you guys want to talk about. Obviously, we've got a long ways to go in this game. We'll be here till the end, so don't mind talking softball, but that's I think we only can get so many questions in. Yeah, that was definitely inside. Man, look at that shift. That is crazy for a right-handed batter. So basically they switched the second baseman over to the other side, took the shortstop down more toward third base, and then third base barely playing off. And then Mitchell, of course, playing out a little bit further than she normally would at first. They're going to talk it over, Jeff.
Man, it's not ideal right now. I do want Brian Berg asked a question in the chat because we're talking about Emerald Winston a minute ago. So their last tight end transfer being Amari Nyblack didn't pan out. What qualities does Jack Andrews have that make you think he will be successful? I think Andrews has more skins on the wall. He's more of a proven commodity than Nyblack. With Amari Nyblack, he was still pretty raw when he got to Texas. So in a lot of ways, you were buying the ceiling and the projection. And I just think Andrews, you can debate which one has the higher ceiling here, Nyblack. I just think Andrews is further along in his development. I mean, he's already had a 50-catch season.
Yeah,
at the college level. So there's just Andrews checks a lot of boxes that Nye Black didn't. And I'm not knocking Nye Black. He may be really good at A&M, but you were really buying upside with him. Finally, the inning comes to an end.
Yeah, as a to your point, Jeff, he logged more snaps than any tight end in the country as a redshirt freshman in 2023. Caught 35 passes for 408 yards and 2 touchdowns. Garnered freshman All-American honors from multiple outlets. And then last fall, he led Cal with 56 receptions for 623 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that included back-to-back 100-yard games. So definitely a little more skins on the wall, as you said.
I think that's the thing about playing tight end for Sark and Jeff Banks at this point is, they're not going to put you on the field if you're not ready to be a complete tight end. So for some guys are cool, kind of waiting and marinating a little bit. Saw Jatavian Sanders do that his freshman year. Gunnar Helm had to go through that. Jordan Washington went through that last year.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting though, Blake, if like Nick Townsend specifically, like if he's ahead of the curve and just is ready to rock and roll. So
yeah,
I think from a physicality standpoint, he'll get it earlier than a lot of tight ends will.
Man, a lot to be excited about there. Talking about Sanders, 2023, Sanders 45 passes, 682 yards, 2 touchdowns. So I mean, their stat line pretty dang close between him and Indries.
It's a question from Jesk _013. Did Sark like what he saw from Gunnar Rivers' visit? I mean, I think this is the time where they're really trying to buckle down on who's going to be their guy in 2027. I'll tell you this. I mean, I haven't heard a ton of feedback on the Gunnar Rivers visit, but for Kavian Bryant to get his offer after throwing for the staff last night as Jerry comes in, that to me tells me that dude's every bit as much in the mix as anybody else in that class that they've offered to be the guy that the staff wants, that they've ID'd as their guy as QB1 in 2027.
Yeah. Hi, Jerry.
Hello. How are we, guys?
We're not a fan of like 15 pitch at bats, Jerry, unless it's going to happen in this half inning.
Yeah. I felt like I was thinking about coming in midway through that, but I was like, let's just finish that at bat.
And one other question. John said, did White comment on why he went with the freshman pitcher last night over his upperclassman? I was actually trying to find some quotes by Mike White while we were doing this, but John, stay tuned. I'm going to keep looking. See what I can find for you.
So Jesse, see, I'll ask. Yeah, I heard Texas like Gunnar Rivers, and they like Kavian Bryant. Obviously, they like Peyton Houston. I think a lot of this too is, with 27 quarterback is it's got to be somebody, one, who's talented enough, but two, who can kind of see the time frame and from a development standpoint, right? Like, I think that's big. That's probably not talked about enough at quarterback recruiting in 2027. The big thing for me on Kavian Bryant was I spoke with his dad, who's the basketball coach at Powell State Westwood, played D1 basketball for about 20 minutes before the camp last night. And he talked about how Kavian is leaning heavily to being a quarterback and football player in college. And that conversation, I think, is a big one, because if he goes in and says, yeah, I want to play football and basketball in college, I don't think that offer's made. I think Kavian wants to be a quarterback. He's going to keep playing basketball. Obviously, he plays with Southern Assault, AAU on the Adidas circuit. He plays for his dad. His little brother's going to be a freshman next year. He's a very talented kid. It looks like he's going to be a big kid, by the way. He's like 5'11" right now, but you can just tell by his features he's going to be big. He will be the other guard on that team, and they're going to be really good at Westwood. He'll continue to play basketball, average 25 plus a game, but he is leaning to being a quarterback and playing college football as his only sport. Daniel Oron asks, any player comparisons that come to mind for Sharm? I've always said Sean Rogers, and I'm not saying he's going to be a second-round pick and a 12-year pro, an all-pro, but there's a lot of similarities there. And I'm not sure he's quite as athletic as Sean, but he is a big guy that has a lot of lateral quickness.
Thank you, Matt. And John, we found a quote. It's a little bit of coach speak. Give us just a moment here. I'm going to have Matt put it up there. I'll read it and we'll put it on the screen as well. But like I said, it's a little coach speak. It's more than anything, fellas. But he said for White after the game, he explains his decision-making, stating especially related to bringing in Kevon. And he says, it was a little earlier than I wanted to bring her in. I was hoping to get a lead and bring her in to close the door. We know she's going to do her stuff. She's got available 3 different types of pitches. It's hard for them to sit on her. When she has her stuff, she's as good as anyone in the country. So it's about all he had to say on that. Like I said, a lot of coach speak going on there. One of those things where you answer the question without directly answering the question, unfortunately. But that's all we got.
Oh, Daniel, that's a good question, actually. Favorite sports ranked?
Oh.
Man.
Who wants to start? Safe.
I'll tell you what's crazy. For a lot of the 2000s, like golf was actually mine. I've always worked in football, worked in basketball, right? But I just, there was a point in my time where I just love golf. And I do think golf's a sport, by the way. As far as like pro sports, probably hockey. College sports is college football, college basketball. I still think the best sporting event for me is the NCAA basketball tournament. If you've never been, like if you ever have a chance to go to a Sweet 16, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The NCAA tournament's probably my favorite sporting event, though.
Man, that's a tough one.
I mean, mine would probably be college football 1, college baseball 2, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. She's going to make her throw some pitches first and second.
That one had some eyes on it.
Yep.
Yeah. So Daniel asked about pro Cedric Baxter. Obviously, I think his girlfriend was she the one that just got a hit? Is that Ced Baxter's girlfriend? Yeah. But Daniel said we don't hear much about hockey. I went to my first NHL game last year when I was in Phoenix. My son and I were out there, and that was right before the Coyotes moved to Utah. That was probably my favorite in-person, that was my favorite in-person pro sporting event I've ever been to. Hockey in person, if you sit in the first 5-6 rows, is awesome. Just awesome. I mean, what a great play. What a great sport to watch in person if you're close enough to kind of feel the hits and really feel like you're involved in it. I thought, there's a big hit by Reese Atwood, guys.
Yeah, that's huge. Get in there. Go, go, go.
She was due.
Oh, and then it went off the third baseman's glove.
And into the dugout.
Man, taking advantage. That's what
she was due.
She was way due.
Yeah, Daniel, I guess mine, I still have to go college football, number 1, college baseball, 2, and probably softball, then followed by college basketball. I'm not a big pro sports guy. When it comes to like,
not either.
Yeah, I can't really get into any pro sports at all. I mean, I'll watch like the NFL, but I don't really, I don't have a favorite team or anything like that. But when it comes to like coaching sports, because I've coached all my kids in every sport, but baseball, I love coaching baseball way more than.
By the way, the left fielder threw a change up. That ball was like spinning off to the right and the third baseman square in the back. And she's like, "What? You were in the way." I was like, girl, you threw the ball 15. Everything was cutting like a bad drive. It was a slice. She hit a slice from left field.
Jerry, what you said about hockey, I feel the same way about baseball. Like it's hard for me to watch a baseball game on TV. I mean, I can have it in the background, but man, it doesn't matter if I go to an Astros game or
smoked another one. It's a 3-0 game, guys.
Woo! Yeah, right down the right
They held
field.
her with one. They held her with one out.
Texas may blow this one open.
But I'll say this too. I'll tell you this. Love it, Matt. Love it. Producer Matt's bringing the.
Producer Matt has toys now. He's got some toys back there.
Matt's got weapons now, guys.
We're dangerous.
But I'll say this: the NBA gets a lot of grief about the style of play right now. They don't play any defense. But I'll say this and people in the chat. I'm sure you've been to NBA games. The athleticism in person.
Oh my gosh, man!
Is off the charts. It's off the charts, the athleticism in person in the NBA. The speed and quickness at which they move up and down the floor and change directions at the highest level in the world is off the charts. I think that's the most athletic sport going.
Jerry, when Texas played Washington in the Sugar Bowl, that semifinal a couple years ago, New Year's Eve, the Lakers were in town to play the Pelicans. So I got me, a $20 ticket and went into Smoothie King Center, and like just watching LeBron and some of the writers that have covered it, the NBA were like, "What'd you think?" And him specifically, I'm like, you don't appreciate
foul. Yeah, you don't appreciate
how powerful and dynamic of an athlete he is at his size.
Yeah.
And then it really blows my mind. Like you think about Jackson Hayes was a really good player at Texas and was a first round pick. And in the NBA, the only time he was getting on the floor was when Anthony Davis needed to get a shot of water.
Nathan says you do not realize how massive the NBA players are until you see them in person. I totally agree. Like how big and athletic the combo, the quickness, speed, explosivity, and power with which they push through the ground at the NBA level, and that they're as skilled as they are nowadays. By the way, I've heard some really good things about Matas early on at Texas. Matas, Vokititis. I'll let Jeff pronounce the last name. I'll butcher it, and I'm not a butcher, only in names. But I've heard he's looked really good early on. They started. It's a lot of individual workouts this week, and then they go to some slight, team stuff next week. But Matas has looked really good. I think they think Wilcher's going to shoot the ball a lot better than he did at St. John's based on what they're seeing. I think Texas is pretty excited about their top 8-9 guys right now.
I go back to something you said about Wilcher, Jerry, when he committed. You found that quote. I think it's from.
Oh boy, guys, this game is 5-0.
Boom, man! How about that?
Wow.
And Leanne Good.
We'll call Leanne Good the yard dog.
Yeah.
Let's get it, Matthew.
She had a rough game one, bounced back late last night with a clutch hit. And then how about that one, though, guys? 3-run home run.
I'm not saying she came through in the clutch because she was on the live stream with myself and Rob Babers recently, but I'm not going to shy away if y'all want to give Rod and I some credit for that.
I will.
Now, people, I tweeted out that when softball players come on, they win their game following. And people were pointing out last night they didn't win. And of course, we had Tegan on that morning.
But she didn't start.
But no, here's the deal. On my tweet, I said they win the next day. So technically, the streak would still be alive with the win tonight because she played that night. It wasn't the next day. So yeah, we get away with a little technicality there.
Blake, can you tell what pitch of candidates they're jumping on? Like it doesn't look like a rise ball. It looks like maybe just a fastball. They're jumping on it.
I'll have to look a little bit closer. I hate to just guess.
Because I mean, those pitches look like they were just grooved, man.
I'm thinking drop balls not dropping.
That could be it too, Jerry. Yeah.
Yeah, and Black Fox 1320. This is why you don't pitch someone 100 throw games, 3 games in a row. Which I mean, they weren't all 100, but pretty dang close. You know that fatigue is setting in, fellas. I mean, there's your body's just not meant for that day in and day out. I don't care.
That's like Texas had a couple pitchers like that. Like anytime I see Kirk Dressendorfer and Brooks Kiesnick,
oh yeah,
I'm happy that those guys still have their arms are still attached to their bodies. Yeah.
Dressendorfer threw thousands of pitches.
Jerry Dries was telling me one time he was in a playoff game in high school. I think it was like a state semifinal. He threw like 130 something pitches, and his high school coach was like, "You're good to go tomorrow, right? You're good to go for this game." He was like, I guess."
Well, like one of the most amazing things in baseball history is Nolan Ryan's arm.
Oh yeah,
that how long it held up. And how much he threw early in his career. And everybody talks about arms, but Nolan's legs and core were always so strong. It took stress off his arm, but he still threw a lot of curves. He threw a lot of curveballs over the years. And but Nolan Ryan, how many pitches he threw and never had major arm issue.
Hey,
that's kind of one of the more amazing things in baseball for me.
That's one of those dudes, like with Nolan Ryan specifically, it's crazy. Like you look at like people like, oh, the workout regimen. Nolan lifted and did some stuff, but like that's old, Jerry. That's just old school, like South Texas. Like you just go haul hay and you're trying to control the snow monkey population. Like that's just old school country workouts that got Nolan.
Speaking of Nolan, we got to do a little show and tell.
The bloody mouth after getting hit on the line drive.
Y'all can see it. Okay, my autograph, Nolan Ryan, as big as I am.
I thought you were going to bring out an autograph of him having Robin Ventura in a headlock and just go.
That'll be next. That'll be next collection. But yeah, that's a good one right there.
Like
when you say that,
I got to add that to my office. I got to add that. I get the Bo Jackson. For those that don't know, Bo Jackson had a line drive back to Nolan. It hit so hard, the glove popped, and the stitching on the glove caught him in the lip off of Bo Jackson line drive.
Hey, we got a super chat here from Jonah Williams, enthusiast. Thank you, Matt, because I missed that one. And J Dub enthusiast says the real question is how many punt returns will Jonah have?
I definitely think he will be part of the punt return and the return game at Texas next year. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I just watched him too much in high school to think otherwise. I think he's got that fearless component he has. He has that fearless component that Silas Bolden, Xavier Worthy had. And I think that factors into the return game. I'll be surprised if he doesn't return some punts next year. I think he can, because he's been an outfielder. He also plays the ball in the air. He plays it over his shoulder. He knows how to judge it. But he has that fearless component. He's different. He's bigger than most punt return guys are. But the flip side of that is if he breaks the first arm tackle, he can stride out on people too. So that's a heck of a play. Golly, Mia, dadgum.
Man, that was nice.
I mean, if Texas wins, she has to be your series MVP, right?
I mean, R.I.P. Rest in peace, Ken Caminetti. That's a hell of a play right there. Ken Caminetti would have been proud of that one.
Jerry, what were the best Astros uniforms over the years? They've had a lot. What was your favorite?
I'm not sure I've ever liked one of.
Really?
The ones they wear when they lose.
Yeah, that's. I'm not sure I've ever liked the Astros uniforms, man. I don't know.
Texas 84 said the rainbow. I tell you, my favorite was the early to mid 90s, the Killer Bees era, where they went to the shooting star uniform. It was like the navy blue and gold. Love those uniforms.
Yeah. So my son's a big uniforms guy, an NBA guy now. The city jerseys they're doing are pretty cool in the NBA. I'll give them credit, like the Phoenix, the Denver ones. They've done a good job with the city jerseys in the NBA. And I've never been like a uniform guy, really.
Hey, Speaking of Jerry and the NBA, I know we're just talking about not really paying attention to pro sports, but how about that meltdown and comeback last night?
Oh my gosh, Tyrese Halliburton, what is he? Is he now 16 for 19 in game winners in the last 2 years? So it's a crazy stat. Somebody in the chat can find it. Is he 16 to 19, 16 to 20 on game winners? It's an unbelievable stat.
Yeah.
I think he was 12 to 13 at one point on game winners.
That's insane. My middle son's a big Thunder fan, so he was melting down.
By the way, we were talking about hockey, and even if you don't love hockey, for the guys that do know, Connor McDavid, I like just, we watch greatness. We like greatness in sports, right? It captivates us. Connor McDavid for the Edmonton Oilers is going to be a top 3 hockey player of all time, in my opinion. And, if he gets a title, that's really the only thing he's missing, and then it's longevity of career. But even if you don't watch hockey, he's a great, great player. It's like he's just has a skill level, and then it's like he has Magic Johnson or TJ Ford's court vision, ice vision, whatever you want to call it, rink vision. He has really special vision as an athlete, like special stuff, like what the best point guards have, maybe what the best quarterbacks have. He has special stuff about him.
Now, someone that's watched it looks like Texas Tech getting another pitcher ready, but someone that's watched their previous games, is this the same pitcher? I think it was Lincoln that was going and getting ready that Texas teed off on earlier in the year and run ruled them. That's what we need to find out.
I got to tell you, if they get to the point where they pull Kennedy, that means she's dead arm. She's got nothing left.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only reason you're pulling her. It's not like you're saving her for next year.
Well,
yeah, I think I'm not a softball guy. I need the softball guys in there. I mean, I'm not a softball guy in that I'm not sitting there reading pitches off hands, but I have a feeling drop ball isn't dropping tonight for her.
While they're at a break, I need to take one as well, and hopefully, Matt, you can help me out with this, but I need to tell everyone about Austin realtor Laura Baker. That's who tonight's show is brought to you by. Laura and the Andy Allen team at Keller Williams can handle all of your real estate needs in the Austin area. Laura is not only a diehard Longhorn fan, but a longtime Austin real estate expert. And she has 3 open houses in Austin this weekend. Let me tell you about those. The first one, Saturday, 12 to 2. That's tomorrow, 12 to 2 p.m. at 2500 Steck Avenue, unit number 9. And then the second one is going to be Saturday from 3 to 5 at 9308 Prince Charles. Laura going to be busy on Saturday. Following those 2 up with Sundays, 2 to 4 p.m. You can catch that one at 4732 Twin Valley Drive. And we want to tell Laura Baker and the Keller Williams team, thank you for sponsoring tonight.
Jeff, I think you should get that one. Jeff Moe, I agree. Yeah, I think you should. Dead legs, not arms. Dead legs, tired hip muscles, tired core muscles. That's a lot of load to push through the ground. She's put the ground force. I'm not saying she's big. I'm just talking from an athletic standpoint. She's loading up a lot. We talk about how many pitches she's thrown. Think about how many times she's loading and pushing through the ground to create that force. So I totally agree.
Yeah.
She's out. They pulled her.
Wow.
Oh, Friendswood. What's up? Friendswood in the house? She probably went to Brook. Let me look this up. I'm a Friendswood grad. I got to look this up.
Did we ever figure out who was the pitcher in that last Texas game? I was hoping somebody had it in the comments. Nope. Dang it. Talking about going back to that comment, dead legs, not arms. One thing that we're seeing from Tegan tonight, too. Oh, go ahead, Jerry.
Oh, she did go to Friendswood High School. Well, I can't cheer for her tonight.
Wait for this one. Let's see. Going to get their first out there. But Tegan doing a great job of staying up tonight instead of leaning that body over a little bit. And that's when you see her getting in trouble a little bit. But through the first 2 innings, she's been upright and just on it. Syracuse.
And by the way, she can come back in the game tonight.
Yes.
One time. So if they battle back and they pull it to where it's a game, she can obviously come back in.
Yep.
Right now, though, they're getting the grounders, doing a good job of letting the defense make the plays for them. Syracuse Horn, Blake, are you just sunburned, or is it just the shadow? It's a little bit of went to the pool for about an hour and a half before coming on here, and it was all sunshine. Got another super chat, fellas. Thought we may have a bunt there. Silver Spur Sicko, thank you for the super chat. With more conference realignment probably coming in 2031. Do you guys think that Sark will be around after, or do you see him going to the NFL?
Oof.
I think if Sark's around in 2031, I'd be a little surprised. And I'm not sitting there saying I'm Nostradamus and have the answer, but I mean, that's a long way from today. I'd be a little surprised. That's a long run.
I'd say if he's not, then it probably means Texas put another national championship number on the wall. It's
I mean, that's
safe. It's hard, Jerry. There's too much. There's the dynamics of college football are such now that like you're not going to have another Bobby Bowden, Joe Paterno, Frank Beamer. Like you're just not going to have those guys that are the head coach at one school for a generation. It's going to be really, really hard to be that guy.
Yeah, and I think it's great when you're winning. I get it. And yes, Texas is a great place. There's a ton of stress that comes with these jobs too. And these guys are making so much money now that it comes down to a certain point. I mean, if Sark's at Texas until 2030, what's he going to be making? $12 million a year for the next 6 years? I mean, it's there's so much stress that comes with this job, man. I mean, Sark looked stressed after the Ohio State game last year. There's a lot. I know these guys make a lot of money, but college sports is. I mean, it's more year-round. It's more of a year-round business than anything. And there's a lot of stress that comes with the job. I think we're going to see some, because of the salaries these guys make, I think we may see some shorter shelf lives for these guys.
I agree.
In the future, especially with NIL. A lot could depend on what happens with NIL, what happens with the college football playoff. Are we headed to two? There's so many things. Another thing that can force a coach to leave or make a decision, not force, but impact the decision, is if there's change in AD or leadership at a university, and he may not have the same relationship he had with the previous ones. That's a lot of times high school, college, when guys move. Principal retires at a school, new guys are hired, and the high school coach may not mesh with those guys the way he did the prior ones. Then he's off to another job. So there's that can always come into play as well.
So at the
that's a really good point, Jerry.
End of the second, y'all, 5-0 Texas leading this one. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, Sarah O. For anyone who was wondering last night and didn't see Coffee and Football, the little girl was able to give Tegan her bracelet and got her autograph. We had people asking about that. So that was awesome that all worked out for them.
Yeah, but does anybody have a Rod Babers autograph on their wall like I have on mine right here?
Oh.
Blake, I am jealous of that Nolan Ryan piece, though.
Oh, I'll break something else out in a little bit that you really aren't going to believe. I think I've shown it to Jerry before, maybe told him who's all on it.
So people that don't know, I grew up in Friendswood. Alvin's a neighboring town over. So we used to play summer league against Reed Ryan. He played at Alvin. We were at Friendswood. So very familiar with the Ryan. Nolan lived in the same house in Alvin for so many years. I think there's Rob Infield, who's on our Coffee and Football show. He knows this, but Nolan lived in the same house when he was with the Astros for so long. I don't even know. He may still own that property, even though it was in his ranch in South Texas most of the time. But this same house, man, in Alvin, a little acreage there. they lived for the longest time. I think throughout his entire pro career. Off season, obviously, when he was with the Rangers. He never adjusted his life to the money he made in terms of his house and moving away from where he grew up and where was home to him. It was pretty cool. It's rarely happens.
Like a very humble guy.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, I had a friend that was, I can't remember how he was related to him, but I remember even being a lot younger, they just always talked about how down to earth he was and never full of himself at any time.
There have not been very many times. You do this long enough, you don't get starstruck very often. First time I met Nolan Ryan, I was a 10-year-old kid all over again.
Yeah. Syracuse Horn, any players at Mesquite High? I think they had a kid that moved recently that's a pretty good player. I got to figure
Marco Martin.
Are Tech fans leaving already?
Surely not.
Boo.
I'm joking. They just need a puke break.
I think they're just showing them dancing up there. I don't think, surely they're not leaving.
No, I'm just having fun with them.
I was about to say there's still
they need a puke break right now.
Oh, man. So one down already. Gentlemen, we're almost halfway through this game already. That's insane.
Hey, Matt, when's our next noise? Producer Matt, what do you have for us?
Yeah.
That's probably what the Texas Tech dugout sounds like.
Yeah.
Right? That's actually a live audio feed.
Man.
I know. By the way, J4, Bobby said he will not eat a corn dog with mayo if the ladies win, but I damn sure going to be double fisting them Monday if they win.
He's the only one
guaranteed.
The only one that hasn't out of all three of us, Jerry. I think the time is now, if there ever was one. He's going to keep holding out saying football, but we got to get Jenny to start applying the pressure.
Derek Best, you are correct. The Nolan Ryan documentary on Netflix was awesome.
Phenomenal.
Is Austin Cochran asks, I'm ready for Jasper to start putting out more players like Ty Anthony Smith. Yeah, a Sean Weatherspoon, another Sean Weatherspoon would be great. They actually have a really good receiver. They have a couple of good young players down there, more skill guys. But I'm not Ty Anthony Smith level. They got a couple 3D1 kids down there. They maybe haven't had as much size as they once did. Like there was a time where Jasper not only had speed, but they had some big kids on the line too. Red Bryant still is a big part of the Jasper community. Jory Adams, Red Bryant. Yeah. They had some big kids come through for many years over there. Coyote Armstrong last year, he'll be a pro tight end. Yeah, Nathan, he'll be a pro. Yeah, CJ Baxter's at the game. So his girlfriend's, is it Mia Scott? Is that who his girlfriend is?
I believe so, yeah.
His girlfriend's on the team.
Caden Henry.
Yeah.
Caden Henry. It's Caden Henry. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know who it was. I'm not an Instagram stalker, but I knew he was dating one of the players.
Hey, Jeff, since we're at another commercial break, Carlos has a question for you, and while you answer it, I'm going to go get that piece of memorabilia I was going to show you. But Carlos wants to know, out of all the cards you collect, what are your favorites?
Man, I'm looking at it right now. It's the 68 Nolan Ryan rookie, Nolan Jerry Kuzman. I've got a Beckett vintage graded 5 sitting in my case right now. There's a bunch, like I got an 89 upper deck Ken Griffey rookie. It's not monetary value, but dude, when I was a kid, that was our 52 Mickey Mantle was the 89 upper deck Griffey. I got a bunch of Longhorn cards, autograph cards, stuff that I've got signed.
I told this story before, Jeff. I don't know if you know this, but one of my things I did when I was a kid for a long time, I'd go to the loading dock at the Astrodome and just get autographs.
Yeah.
And then I ended up, Tony Gwynn actually was such the coolest guy ever. He said he in his high pitch voice, hey, we stay over at the Galleria, blah, blah, blah. You should come over there and I'll get you all the autographs you want. So I started going over to the Galleria. I had 3,000 autographed baseball cards at one point in time.
Dude, that is awesome, man.
Tony Gwynn was the nicest guy of all time. He's easily the coolest professional athlete I've ever met. It's not even close. He was so cool.
Jerry, when he was alive, he was one of the few guys that if you sent him a card in the mail, he would sign it and send it back. There's a lot of guys, especially today, that don't do that. But Tony Gwynn is one of the few that did. It's guys from the era like Wade Boggs still does it. Ryan Sandberg still does it. But yeah, Tony Gwynn was famous for doing through the mail autographs. But that's all, man. That's awesome. That's good.
Somebody asked who Texas is going after at tight end. Tight end, Kiwi Brown out of Corona Centennials now coming in on the 20th. They were asking outside of Hezzy Kent. Kiwi Brown, and then Caden Prothrow, who's a Georgia lean, is coming in on the 20th as well. Kiwi Brown's interesting because his father is a retired UFC fighter. His stepmom is Ronda Rousey, who could kick everybody's butt in this chat or on the air. Daniel said, I guess he sent Paul Pierce. He mailed Paul Pierce the card to autograph. He never signed it and sent it back. I remember those days. I actually, did you ever do that? Anybody ever do that where you'd send cards out and players would autograph them and send them back? Tim Raines was awesome. He actually sent a bunch of stuff back. I had a few guys send some stuff back. Tim Raines is really cool in person too.
Jerry, there used to be books that I used to get them I'd get one every year at the book fair. It would have like all the Major League Baseball, the NFL, NBA, it'd have all the teams' addresses in there where you could, send off and write to the team or whatever. Yeah. Some teams would, very rarely would you get like an autograph back, but some teams at least would send you like a little like fan pack or something like that. I think there's some teams that still do that, but I don't know that kids today are using snail mail like I did back in the day.
Now Curry still does it, apparently.
Boy, Reese Atwood's getting healthy tonight.
Yeah, she's back on it tonight with the double.
That is a nice piece of hitting right there.
Man, their body language is just completely different. Obviously up 5-0, I know, but even from the get-go, just how they've acted, how they've approached everything. It's been a night and day between the last two games.
Look, what's cool about this? Look, there's a lot of game left. As a fan of a team, one of the coolest things to see, and one of the most like things that makes you like proud as a fan of your team, is when they have momentum, then they lose momentum, and they come back the next game and execute at the highest level they have. Because there's another one, 6-0. Because the reality is the first two games, I said this on Coffee and Football, and maybe some people took issue. They just didn't play that well. They had too many unforced errors, sloppy in the field in game one, right? They didn't play clean games. And they've responded tonight in win or go home with all the pressures on them in this game, by the way. The pressure's on Texas. They're the favorite. They won game one. They all know the stat. 79% of teams win it that win game one. They know all the stat. They know the numbers. And so Tech winning last night put the pressure on Texas, and they've responded. That's when fans like get extra. There's a lot of game left, but that's when fans like get extra like invested and proud of a team.
Yeah.
Right? Is when they respond to adversity. Maybe they didn't play well. They won because Kennedy gagged the first game. They didn't play great last night. Just the unforced errors. But then they come back when they have to, and they're playing arguably their best. Yeah, not arguably. They're playing their best game.
Yes, without a doubt. Defensively, offensively.
To a lesser extent, Jerry, I think that's part of what made that playoff win against Clemson for the football team as good as it was, because you're coming off an SEC championship where, man, you shot yourself in the foot to the point you bled out. Like you played well enough to beat Georgia in Atlanta. Yeah. And then it's like, how are you going to be coming off that? And dude, they just took it to Clemson from the jump and didn't let up.
Yeah.
And look, there's a reason why Dabo had to hire a new defensive coordinator, but it's not like that Clemson team lacked talent.
No. No. Somebody's asking about Kavan and NIL. Look, if they go on to win this, she's 2 years to NIL too, not 2 years to play, 2 years to NIL. Yeah, I'm guessing she'll do great.
Yeah, she'll get a boost for sure. That's what mostly iSports Talk asking about. We also have some people asking if there's a run rule, and I don't.
No, not in this level.
Not in the Women's World Series.
No.
So 2 outs, Texas up 6-0 for those that aren't watching but following along with us. And there's
6-0 in the third.
All right, Jeff. I got some people telling me to bring this out here, so I got to brag on myself a little bit with what I got. Are you ready for this?
All right, what you got?
All right. So right here, this is, I know it's hard to see the autographs on this. This is Reggie Jackson, Willie Mays, Eddie Matthews, Hank Aaron, Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle, Frank Robinson, Ernie Banks, Mike Schmidt, and a couple of others, all on one, authenticated, ready to go. How about that?
I don't know who any of those guys are.
Is that not insane? All on one.
That's pretty cool.
That is awesome, man.
Very cool. Prize, it hangs in Colt's room. He has no idea how much money just sleeps right beside his head every night. He has no clue whatsoever.
I think signed pieces like that, like the 500 home run club, 3,000 hits, 300 game winners, whatever it is.
So somebody's saying it's 8. Somebody's saying there is a run rule. There's a run rule in a national championship.
Yeah. There I think it was the in 22. OU run ruled Texas in one of those games.
Oh, maybe so. Maybe now in baseball there isn't. That's right. Once you hit the postseason, but I thought the same rule applied for softball too for some reason.
Yeah, I'm wrong on that. I thought I didn't think there was.
Daniel, I wish they were. We would have won a lot more. We won a lot of games when I was coaching Little League, but we would have won a heck of a lot more with those. Colt probably would have been riding the bench on that one.
And there it is. Since 2023. Okay, it's 10 after 5 innings, 8 runs, or 10 after 5. Some people are saying 8 after 5. Let's see if the coach comments on it.
Well, no crap. She's tired. You've pitched her 180 pitches. I hate to tell you, time's running out, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't that time.
People are asking, how much is that worth, Blake? Have you priced that thing out?
I haven't. I've had a few people try to offer me some money for it, and I just haven't given it up yet. It's one of those things that is just I have a lot of crazy sports memorabilia like that. Krista always says I have enough to open my own museum, which maybe I do. I don't know. She makes me keep most of it up, but that's like those 2 things I've showed tonight are 2 of the things that get to stay out. I have no idea though. Maybe I'd probably get on Pawn Stars with that. I probably wouldn't take their offer, but probably could make the TV show with that one.
Blake, I do. It's not a cool, multi-sign piece like that. But when I was at the Horn, when I was working in radio, a listener, and I tried to refuse it or whatever, but ended up for my birthday, got me a Mickey Mantle signed 8x10.
Oh, that's awesome.
And ended up, I was like, hey, I'll get it authenticated through JSA. If it passes, it passes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It passed authentication. So
nice. Very cool. I like the old baseball memorabilia. Wait, I just think it's even the old cards, man, the old tobacco cards. I got a handful of those that are graded that I just that era is just so neat.
Yeah, those oh man, the pre-war cards are fun.
Yeah. I don't even know who any of those guys are that I have, but it's cool to learn about them when you have them. And I just think it makes a neat like conversation piece.
Yeah, like the T2 like T206 cards. I'm getting into baseball card nerdery right here, but like the T206 set is, I mean, everybody knows that for the Honus Wagner card, but that is a beautiful set, man. Like the color photos for that time, it is.
Yeah, they all the Bowmans from the 60s. I think are the two coolest baseball cards ever made.
Syracuse Horn says, how much is my Tom Penders basketball worth? I just asked Luke Axel. He said, not a damn nickel.
This is probably too soon.
You and I are probably like 5 people watching right now in this live stream that got that reference.
I think Syracuse Horn. I think Syracuse Horn may get it if he has the autographed basketball.
My wife's telling you to come take my stuff, Jeff.
Only if she gives up some Christmas trees.
That's right. We got to make some room for some new stuff.
You can open our own Christmas tree store.
If he wanted my Rodney Terry autographed basketball, but he didn't take it.
Man, I've got a Casey Hampton signed jersey sitting in a.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's got to get up on the wall, Jerry. Look. I'll say this. I think there's a fan vote component. Anybody that can get in the National Football Foundation voting members' ears, Casey Hampton should be in the College Football Hall of Fame. He's on the ballot this year. Get him into the College Football Hall of Fame. The only defensive lineman in the history of the University of Texas to lead the team in tackles 2 years in a row.
Yep, no doubt. 101 tackles as nose guards. That's just it's one of the more amazing player stats in Texas football history to me. A nose guard, 101 tackles in the
Jerry, 39 TFLs over his last 2 years at Texas.
Yep. He had 54 tackles for loss as a junior in high school. 54 tackles for loss as a junior in high school at Galveston Ball. Crazy number.
Kelly Hill, thank you for the super chat. So glad the ladies wiped that smirk off Glasgow's face. Yeah, he's not smiling as much now. It's crunch time for his team.
I see Jenkins has a good one.
I got VY to sign my VY 2006 Robo patch jersey last year and got it framed. That's awesome.
That is legit.
We may have to make a memorabilia. I think we had one at the beginning of OTF, like when we first started. We had a memorabilia thread, but we need to revisit that and let everyone post their stuff in there because I love looking at stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
Kyle Voshka, I totally agree.
I'm just trying to find stuff that's within arm's reach on my desk. I gotta pick this up.
Oh, this is Syracuse Horn has one. Does any Texas fan out there have a Ron McKelvey autographed jersey?
You know what?
Somebody has to.
Were they doing like fan appreciation days back then, back in the mid-90s?
Somebody's got to did he sign his real name or the fake name?
It's got to be the fake name, right?
You would think. He played his part so well.
I picked this up recently. That's a DeMarvion Overshown rookie auto I picked up recently. I got it. Next time I see Demo, we got to work on that signature a little bit. We got to get a little more elaborate with that thing.
Sorry, no tortilla.
Matt's having too much fun.
I love it. So 6-0 going to the fourth.
Yeah, bottom of the fourth.
The bottom of the fourth. Sorry, 6-0 going to the bottom of the fourth.
Jerry, when take me back to like 8-9-year-old Jerry Hamilton. Who'd you idolize? Who was your guy?
I loved Ricky Henderson in baseball. Loved Ricky Henderson.
Absolutely.
Trying to think 9. That was how old was I? 9, 84-ish.
Yeah.
So maybe 10 to 12, 13. What year was Tim Brown at Notre Dame? Because
87.
So I love Tim Brown because my dad coached and they played Tim Brown's high school team when my dad was there. So I love Tim Brown at Notre Dame. Loved him. I'm trying to think. Basketball. I love Dale Ellis. Great shooter. I love Dale Ellis for whatever reason.
Unexpected answer, but
I think I saw him. Seattle played at Houston, and he was just on fire. And like from everywhere, I was like, this guy's unbelievable shooter. And I was a guy who shot the ball. I was a 3-point shooter. So I love Dale Ellis.
Hey, real quick, fellas, I need to tell everyone about one of our other sponsors today, Chinook Seedery. Be sure to check them out in your favorite store or go online at chinookseedery.com. Small batch seeds, they taste great. They got 8 different flavors to choose from. Jeff's a cinnamon toast guy. I love their lemon pepper. You will find something. Bobby Witt Jr. loves their lemon pepper. That's his flavor with Chinook. But you'll find one that you like. I guarantee it. Whether you're sitting on the couch watching the game or you're in the game, grab you a bag of Chinook.
Jerry, you mentioned Dale Ellis. I feel like, and granted, I was a kid watching him, but I remember like when Chris Jackson was at LSU and he went to the Nuggets. That guy was about 20 years ahead of his time. Like if Chris Jackson played in the NBA today, he'd be like an MVP type guy, like an all perennial all NBA guy.
He could really score it. Absolutely could really score it. The thing about Dale, somebody said Dale was a sharpshooter. Yes, and he had the quickest release. It was like a 6'7" version of AJ Abrams. Like the what AJ would have been if he was 6'7", right? I mean, Dale Ellis had a lightning fast release. I mean, he would come off that down screen, it was out of his hand so quick. Do y'all think Tech will regret that $1.2 million? No, because they're playing for a national championship and they never sniffed it. I think they've already got return on the investment, and I think they'll probably be back next year for another crack at it.
Also, you got to think that's going to help you with the portal too, because there's not going to be any question. Like once you start getting in there, hosting portal visitors,
it'll be interesting to see how much they spend, right, Jeff, on the portal around her, because they have her for one more year. So you got close. If they go all in, it's one more year that they have a special player.
Yeah, I know you mentioned this too, Jerry. Bobby mentions it, and I think with softball, baseball, like, can you get these deals done pre-house settlement?
Yeah.
Like how fast can you get these things locked in?
We got another super chat, fellas. AS85, thank you for your super chat. Says, I know I'm greedy, but how awesome would it be to run rule them? Plus, number one, Aggie holding their goats at home makes it even better. That was a wild picture.
I commented on that this morning. There's another error. I still can't believe that. I mean, like, that is such an embarrassment to their sheep. Like, disrespectful to the sheep in College Station that you brought in 2 goats.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's disrespecting your own, man. You can't do that.
I really thought Matt might drop a sound effect there. Let's see. Jedi Master Bevo. Blake, any portal baseball visits this weekend? Yes. Yes. Before anyone asks for names, I can't do that right now.
Yeah, trade day, Dale Curry, lightning quick release too. Totally agree.
So, look at the replay. Judgment call, but I don't think she did.
On baseball portal, real quick, I think if you could ask Schloss, Schloss mentioned this throughout the year. They need depth across the board. Like they just need quality bodies. So, like Liz out of Wichita State. You take somebody. Can he play first? Can he play third? Doesn't matter. He's a corner infielder, and you need corner infield depth. You need middle infield depth.
What I like though, Jeff, is they're being so aggressive and all across the roster. It's not just addressing certain needs, and I mean, as you say, the depth, but they're going for the jugular.
There will be more roster turnover going from 25 to 26 than we saw from 24 to 25, which is crazy because you figure when a new staff gets there, there's going to be turnover. But you brought a lot of guys back. You kept the recruiting class intact, except with a few exceptions. But yeah, it's going to look very, very different next year.
Yeah. So a Silver Spur. I'm not a video game guy. CJ and Rod will take you on though. You just got to ask them. I'm not a video game guy myself.
I blame myself for CJ Baxter's knee injury. So we getting the call. I was playing my buddy Chris Dukes. We were at SEC Media Days in the hotel. The game came out that week, and I just spammed the counter play over and over with CJ Baxter, and I'm running for like 200-something yards, and then he tears his knee up in camp. So, CJ, I know you're at the softball game. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I won't let it happen again.
Sean McCumber, is it true Gooseby ran a 4.6 on a catapult thing? I'll say this. Do I think Trevor Gooseby is going to go to the NFL Combine and run in the 4.6s? I do not. Just to be clear. I think he's a good athlete, but I do not.
Call is uphill, by the way. Nathan Blake, is there a rush in baseball to sign NIL contracts before the House settlement gets signed? I think from my understanding, and I wish Bobby was on here because he understands this really well and can explain it a lot better than I can. But it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like they're waiting to see. I think they're being a lot more cautious. Oh, great hit. Oh, they're being pretty cautious with it. So, I mean, yes and no to that. Safe, yep.
We're getting in run rule territory if they push a couple across here.
That was really nice. That was Maloney.
You got Risp with no outs now. I like that.
Yeah, doors are coming off on this one, gentlemen. The
So
show looks like it.
Jerry, about the Trevor Gooseby, and I don't know if that was a tongue-in-cheek comment in the chat, but about Gooseby with a 4.6. Lane Johnson had one of the freakiest O-line combines ever. At 303, Lane Johnson ran a 4.72. So,
she was out. If they don't challenge that, they're nuts. They didn't.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, they challenge everything else. That's for sure.
Now, so there was. I don't. I think somebody said something. Somebody sent me a DM today about a really fast catapult time for Trevor. I don't expect Trevor Gooseby to run on the 4.6s at the NFL Combine.
Yeah,
I'd be very surprised.
Hey, Jerry, I want to go back to some of these older questions that we have here. Let's see here. LL, is Texas still in talks with Atkinson, or did they shift their focus to Xavier Griffin?
I think Atkinson also shifted his focus. Texas and Atkinson circle talked Monday. I put this on ontexasfootball.com, I believe, on Tuesday. Maybe it was Wednesday. But they talked – I think it was Wednesday. But they talked Monday, and the Atkinsons said they weren't going to come visit. So that was more the Atkinsons. Texas wanted Atkinson, but they felt like for a while it wasn't going their direction. So Texas and Atkinson have parted ways officially. Xavier Griffin and Braden Rouse out of Marietta Kell. Texas loves both of those other two linebackers. Great year for linebackers in the Peach State, and they love those two guys. Both are going to be on campus next weekend.
And fellas, some breaking news here. The House settlement is approved.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Yes.
Talk about your Friday night news dump.
No kidding. What's going on, fellas?
CJ, what's up, man?
It's a hard hit ball.
Look at CJ coming in to ride the bandwagon in the fifth inning.
Yeah. Where were you the last 2 days?
I'm here for the good time, the celebrations.
Oh, man.
I heard there was a party. I couldn't miss it.
See if we can't feed that house settlement into AI and get some quick notes real quick. Because don't have time to read it right now.
So, CJ, I don't know if you know this because I was wrong. There is a run rule in softball in the championship series. I didn't think there was.
Oh, my goodness.
10-0, guys.
Wow.
Slam.
Grand slam. House settlement gets
Yeah.
approved and it's grand salami time.
That should seal Mia Scott being the Women's College World Series most outstanding player.
What a snag in center field. Holy cow. I don't know if you guys saw that on the replay. Y'all are about to
Look at Cedric Baxter, the biggest fan of his girl. That's awesome, dude. So cool. Good job, CB. That guy's all Texas, all leader, man.
10-0.
Sorry, no tortilla.
I like the soundboard.
It is nice.
240 foot.
Hey, Jenny's in the chat. Jenny, it's time for you to put your foot down. Bobby has to corn dog with mayo if it's a run rule game, national championship. No excuses, Bobby, wherever you're at.
I agree.
That's a heck of a grab. You're right, CJ.
That was. Of course, it'll go back to the mom, or it should.
Man.
What a game.
Right.
That was not John Tay Cook running wide open against Mississippi State catch right there. That was a real catch.
Look what's going on right now. Texas leads 10-0. We're celebrating, obviously, here. Folks are celebrating in the chat. Colt Monroe celebrating with the super chat.
Colt's actually right behind me here. Matt, by the way, I'm going to send you I got AI to break it down. I'm going to send you some bullet points here in just a moment.
Yes, Splendid Daddy. We have a sound. Matthew Hutchinson has a new soundboard, and it's awesome.
We need to get one of those a soundboard equivalent for like GIFs, because the Vince Carter "It's Over" GIF would be hitting right now.
Who's gonna take one for the team and read all 76 pages of the House settlement?
I just fed all 76 into AI. So we're going to do it that way tonight.
My good friend GPT.
Matt, I'm emailing you two screenshots right now.
Oh,
Hey, by the way, and I'm not jinxing anything if Tech comes back and wins 11-10. That just means Texas plays awful. But let's talk about Mike White for a second. So obviously took some last night for not pitching Teagan or even bringing her in earlier when the game was really in the balance. But I just want to say this for him as he gets closer to winning a national championship. To go to the College World Series 7 times and not win a national championship, that's a lot of long off seasons for a coach.
Mm-hmm.
To be 0-7. And as much as you're happy for Teagan and the players and Mia Scott tonight, if they go on to win this thing as they should, I think I'm probably most happy for Mike White. Because maybe it's because I'm partial. I'm a coach's kid, and you're around it. And you see how the losses can affect people, especially the playoff or championship losses. But man, to go to the College World Series 7 times and never hoist a trophy, that's a lot of long off seasons. That it feels like you may never get it done, or you may never get that one win. And I'm really Mike White's awesome on the show. He's a funny dude. And I'm not jinxing anything here. I'm really happy for Mike White. Really happy for Mike White. We're
talking about it, Jerry. They're up 10-0 right now, bottom 4. The run rule would go in effect. Matthew, thanks for bringing that up in the 5th. Texas is 3 outs away from hoisting the championship trophy. For Mike White, what a moment. But for Texas, look, I guess let's flip it around to Texas Tech, because 5 games they've allowed 8 runs until this moment. And then to get 10 spotted by Texas here in this game, your series deciding, national championship deciding game 3, this is probably something that they've not experienced all season in a high emotion game. What a performance by the Texas lineup.
Yeah. And, you're happy for Atwood. Got the bat going tonight too. You don't want to She had the huge play hit, obviously, but 1 for 13. Good for her to get a couple of hits tonight, a couple of meaningful hits in this game. All came together tonight for Texas, and man, it's so cool for Mike White. And hey, by the way, congrats CDC.
Yeah.
Congrats CDC. Another one of your hires is going to win a national championship tonight.
Yep.
And by the way, Texas is going to win a national championship after losing an All-American shortstop before the season.
Yeah.
Correct.
You don't just replace All-Americans. You have maybe 2 on a team, and they lost maybe 3, but they lost one of their All-Americans and are still about to win a national championship.
And hey, let's not forget, you're only losing. Not only do you get Vivi Martinez back next year, you're only losing 2 position players.
Yep.
Big ones, but yeah.
Me and Scott and Jolie Mitchell. That's it. Everybody else is back.
Yeah. 3 starters, I guess you could say, total. But as you said, two position players, 3 including Mac.
They might have something brewing in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
CJ, are you going to go to a picture of the tower tonight?
That's the plan.
You going streaking by the fountain, CJ? Is that
No,
That's
I
not
did that when
the
I
plan.
graduated, and I didn't like the after effects of that. So staying out of the water. But what a moment. I'm sure that I wish, it's one of the unfortunate parts of softball, baseball, ending with students off of campus is you don't come home to that welcome, like a basketball or a football would, But nonetheless, the tower will be lit. You're certainly going to see on Twitter, on social media, the Longhorn, faithful celebrating. Am I thinking about 6th Street? Look, there's a view from the tower from there. Maybe.
Yeah.
Man, how awesome is it? Texas softball started the season number 1 and bearing a miracle here, going to end the season number 1. Very cool.
Yes,
different than the other.
A&M baseball, that's how it's supposed to be done.
for everybody on this live stream though? For everybody in the chat or everybody watching, listening, man, if this holds, go enjoy it. I mean, I went down to the drag. I just graduated high school when the baseball team won it in 2002, and I went down there and hung out. And I got great memories from that. I got great memories from being down on 6th Street a couple of hours after the Rose Bowl was over in January of 06. So those are relish it, man. Cherish it and enjoy it.
Hey, Blake, do you remember where Mike White said his go-to meal was? What barbecue?
Capitol Grill.
No, that was Vic.
Oh, that's right. Oh, crap.
Vic was Capitol Grill. Bob Bowman was Whataburger, which was very popular.
Oh,
it was a barbecue spot. Mike White, what barbecue? And it wasn't Terry Black's. Terry Black's was who committed to Texas recently we had on the show that said Terry Black's was unbelievable on his visit. I cannot remember what Mike White said.
I'll have to go back and look. People asking about the Director's Cup. We'll have to. I found a little graphic on that earlier on how a national championship affects that. I'll see if I can't find it in a little bit.
Blake, I didn't understand your graphic. It just looked like if Texas wins a softball national championship, they've got it clinched. Like that's, I don't know. I was told there would be no maps, graphs, or charts involved in my work today. So
let me go over to Brett's profile. I know he'll have a Texas softball national championship gives Texas track and field some cushion. It looks like he says Texas wins about 89% of the time for most of these scenarios, as long as Texas wins the national championship in softball. So sounds like they pretty much got it in the bag, it looks like.
Ryan, Bobby's reading all 76 pages of the House settlement right now.
Bobby is at Publix getting corn dogs and mayo.
A little taste of what's to come for the football season, hopefully.
Yes. Brandon Huey, no unforced errors tonight. That's exactly right.
Yep.
Much cleaner. So much cleaner.
I'm sure y'all mentioned this earlier. But Tegan Kavan now up to 28 2/3 innings pitched without an earned run allowed in the Women's College World Series. That's the longest streak in softball history. So we talk about $1 million arms in the circle in this series. I don't know if there's a pitcher better in the country than Tegan Kavan.
Look at those numbers for Mia Scott in the NCAA tournament.
What's that?
Mia Scott's numbers in the NCAA tournament. She's 40 for 75 in the tournament.
Yeah, in her career. Somebody's asking about house settlement. Have we talked about that? What does it mean? Being on here live, I don't really have any reactions. I mean, there's going to be lawsuits. There's going to be some fighting of it at some point. What it means, my initial reaction to it is your Iowa States of the world, your lower power 4 teams of the world are now going to feel like they can compete, or in the world of college football are going to feel like they can compete. And I think that's a big thing. They feel like they can go compete for kids in recruiting. And then the other piece I've always said about this is I mean, our team just say, oh, that's all we have. We're done with our 75%. Nah, that's not the way the game's played. That's not the way this game's going to be played. There is no doubt in the Southeast, people aren't just going to throw their hands up, say, oh, well, we spent our whatever, we're done. No chance. No chance, man. Zero.
At the end of the summary that it did for me, it says, in short, big money for past athletes, direct payments and NIL freedom for current and future ones, and a whole new ball game for college sports. The NCAA's old playbook just got torched.
Yes.
So the question, there's some people asking about, like, what does it do for USC? Like, yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Like, that's where it gets interesting. What kind of overreach will Deloitte have in this? Will they go say, Mark Bowman, you're not worth $7 million in name, image, and likeness, and USC have to throw a contract away and do a different one for players? That's where it gets interesting, because is there a tight end is Travis Kelce the only guy going that's worth $3 million a year in NIL? That's where this stuff gets interesting for me, is what is Deloitte? What are they really going to enforce? How are they going to enforce it? And what will that mean for some of these massive contracts out there right now in football and in basketball in college? There's some big ones in basketball.
Jerry, if I could take a time machine back to like 1988 and bring Mark Bavaro to the present, that might be a $7 million a year tight end.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we are 2 outs. Oh, 3 outs away. Sorry, we're running on.
Yep.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Jerry.
Sorry. Is Mahomes here tonight?
Yep.
As I say, I'm only here for.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy looking back? Texas was about 2 innings away from elimination against Clemson in their regional.
The Supers, yeah.
In the Super. You fight back, you scratch your claw, you get into a lead, you hold on in extra innings. To get to where they are now, where it hasn't ever felt like they've been in jeopardy the way that they were in that Super Regional against that Game 2 against Clemson, that's a hard thing to do. And they're, I know the broadcast last night talked about playing on the fringe of elimination, something that Texas Tech hasn't done. Texas has, but that's a tough thing to do when you've looked death in the face and you've said, hey, I'm not scared, or you know what I'm saying? So good for Texas, but I have to imagine, even with some of the bumps and bruises in the fields, credit to the lineup for not looking over their shoulder at all and just sticking to what they've done to get here the entire season.
Josh Manning with the super chat says, respect to that Tech team. Those girls are tough. And then he adds a little bit more, but family friendly.
On the flip side, Tuck Feck,
Yeah, there
all
you go. That's a way to put it. And then the
King
King
Teddy, someone cue up $1 Million, baby.
Yep. Thank you both for your super chats.
Yeah. Are we 1 out away from this thing being done?
We are, gentlemen.
We are.
1 out away. And our deal still stands. They are undefeated. I mean, again, I'm going to go ahead and just give it to them here. They are undefeated when they come on Texas football the next day. 5-0 this season.
It's not a bad deal you got there going, Blake.
I know. That's what I keep telling them.
I mean, if we're being real, that's why Mike White didn't want to go to Teagan Cavan yesterday. He's like, no, she did coffee and football this morning.
Yeah.
Better.
I can't believe, Blake, we forgot what his go-to. It's a barbecue restaurant.
Man, I'm going to have to go back.
It wasn't Terry Black's, though. It wasn't one of the
No.
obvious.
Here, let me ask Bobby and our deal here.
One out away.
Somebody said the
I
crowd was
expect
75%.
9-hole hitter up at the plate. Probably not a spot you want to be in if you're anybody in the Tech lineup.
Perry, I'm sure there's a lot of Oklahoma fans that trickled in that did not want to see Mike White win a national championship.
There you
Jerry,
go.
people want you to get your gooders ready.
Throws off the bag. I can't. They're in the car. Golly, I will.
Monday morning.
Oh, do
I know.
not make me pop some confetti, but I'm about to.
Do it.
Oh, well, maybe we jinx the clean play.
I have 2 pair of gooders in my car. Not 1, but 2. There's your read for gooders. I've got 2 in my car. Neither one made it into the hotel.
Speaking
room.
of reads, I'm glad you said that, Jerry, because I need to tell everyone real quick about Tackle Addict. Of course, if something happens, I'm going to come back to the – and you know what? I'm going to save this read and do it after the end of the game.
We'll save Brian Robeson's read until after the national champion for a national champion.
That's all right.
How do you remember Texas winning a softball national championship? Blake doing a tackle out of right in the middle of it.
I thought I could squeeze it in real quick, but then I looked at it and I was like, no.
South
I
Texas says he wants me to prove it. I'm going to miss the celebration. I'm going to go get my gooders. I'll be back.
Oh.
What a move by Jerry.
CJ, you got some questions going on in the chat. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I just wanted to let you know you're being pinged and paged in the chat on a couple of different things.
Oh, no. Good things, bad things. I haven't been reading.
It depends on how you want to look at it, CJ. Depends on how you want to look at it. Oh, Mike White said Bob's Steakhouse is what Nathan says.
Bob Steak and Chop, huh?
So, yeah, thank you, Nathan. Thank you. Appreciate that. It was hard for me to go back and listen to Coffee and Football while doing this, so appreciate that.
One strike away. Oh, Joshy. Yeah, when am I getting married, dude? I don't know, man. I don't know. Right now, all I'm thinking about is a different celebration, one that will be happening in Oklahoma City in the next, hopefully, 20 seconds.
What happens first? Bobby eats a mayo corn dog or CJ gets married?
Ooh, that should have been the poll, Jeff. By the way, you and I smoked the poll. Well, that came out a lot wrong.
Then you want to re-rack that and start over.
By the way,
OTF After Dark, fellas.
woo! I'm glad Jerry wasn't here because I would never live that down. Oh, we beat the poll question. I was trying to think how to put that on there. Oh, that's the new Blake is muted. I guarantee you that for the next at least 4 weeks, people are going to run that in the ground. But neither one of us yesterday pulled the error.
Colt super chatting coming, I'm sure.
Oh, if he knows what's good for him, I will get up off this chair and go whoop him. Here we go. Oh, no.
I'm late. I'm behind.
Don't let the moment
It's
be
CJ's
too
fault. It's CJ's fault. I'm blaming CJ.
Oh.
Oh, man, y'all are never going to let me live that down, and I deserve every ounce of it.
An all-time jinx. Finally, though, I'll tell you what, that's the first time this entire postseason Mia Scott's looked human at third base.
Yep.
She has been absolutely spectacular and has not been doing this 100%. So really, really incredible stuff as long as they get out of this inning, right?
Yeah.
That throw's not too far off the line.
No. We're going to talk about it. Regroup. All right. I got to say it one more time because I keep seeing people. She doesn't have a torn ACL, fellas. Like, I've said this for multiple days on the board on 2 different shows. She does not have a torn ACL. ESPN misconstrued her comments. Her ACL is jacked. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not like ours, but it's not torn. She's not literally playing on it.
Yeah. Arrow Kits' comment down here. Jerry ran to the store to buy sunglasses. I mean, is he going to go get milk and just never come back? What's the deal here? Maybe he's the reason why. I mean, if things go south, we're blaming Jerry, right?
Yeah, he got up and the whole ball game changed.
Uh-oh. I just saw the update on the.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess, do these count as earned runs for
That one
Teagan?
has to be. Right?
Matthew, do you mind pulling up the – oh, I see it. 1 earned run for Teagan Cavan. That is the first earned run in well over 30 innings.
Stat broadcast is calling one of them earned.
Who called me out on the gooders, baby? 2 pair of gooders in the car.
Hey, Jerry, by the way, Bob's Chop House.
Bob's Chop House.
That's what it was. But we got a bigger problem at hand. Texas is putting some runs up, man. Uh-oh. What happened there? Mia Scott taking somebody out, taking the tech coach out, I guess.
Oh, obstruction.
Challenge.
So where are we at on the run rule then? So it's not a run. They're not there, right? It's 8 after 5, 8 runs after 5.
Correct. Or 10 after 5.
Lance, let's not encourage him. Let's not encourage Jerry. I'm glad he was not here for that moment live. You'll just have to go back and watch, Jerry.
And the 5th is history.
Yep, getting out of it.
Maybe be a 3-run home half.
That's good. I didn't want to be here for just a short amount of time, so more time to talk to you guys.
By the way, so if Edmonton Oilers and Panthers are 3-3 in the second.
Let's go Cats. Keep the cup in the U.S.
Let's see. Astros are on a little win streak, Blake. What do you think about that? All right, let's see.
We were just talking about a Rangers series many years ago. Someone was asking if I remember it, and I said, unfortunately, I do. So, yeah, if there was ever a time to drop an Astros comment, that would have been it. Perfect timing.
Yeah, where's Josie, Joshy Manning? Where's Josie? Probably watching Oregon, Ohio State replay. By the way, significant injury for Oregon with Evan Stewart. Look, we covered CJ. We covered Evan. We wish him the best. Tough injury though. Really tough injury. That's a torn patella, man. Hey, Jay Dobbs has
Hang on, Jerry. Hang on, Jerry. Let me get it in while I can. Thank you, Daniel, for the reminder.
Oh, it's a perfect time for Tackle Addict after Mia Scott tackled Jerry
Matt's
Glasgow.
trying to get everybody's attention to tell me to do it. Oh, man. Are you an avid fisherman who's always searching for the right supplies? Then do yourself a favor. Check out tackleaddict.com. You hear that, Colt? You've been driving my credit card bill up with buying bait nonstop and fishing poles. TackleAddict.com has you covered. Owned and operated by former Longhorn Brian Robinson and former Longhorn baseball great Brandon Belt. Tackle Addict has everything you need for the best in today's fishing equipment. And Tackle Addict is for the everyday fisherman and serious pros alike. Get their product shipped to you directly from the shores of Lake Sam Rayburn. That's Tackle Addict, ADDICT.com. And Brian and Brandon say hook 'em. Thank you for that, Matt and Daniel.
Well done.
So Jay Dobbs asked, Jerry, you surprised the Stars fired DeBoer. CJ, what was my comment to you on that with today? You can fire the coach and hire a new coach, but you still don't have Connor McDavid, and he's on the team you have to beat in the same conference.
Jared, do you think they lost maybe a little of the locker room after benching Ottinger?
I don't know. I just
because I'm with you, and it's not going to change the fact that they don't have the best player in the country or in the world, right? But I think there might have been a little bit of a.
Wow, Seth
Alcosa. Yeah, I wanted to bring this up real quick, guys. Seth with the super chat. This is awesome. Adopted my son today. He's been with us in foster care since November 2023. Would love to see a softball natty today as well. So, Seth, the softball natty doesn't even compare to what you had earlier today, man. That's really cool. Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations. Big time congratulations.
All right, so Texas back up to bat, bottom of the fifth, boys, 10-3. And Leanne Good at the plate.
Blake, you've called games before, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. Many. Way too many. Not this year, though. Going to watch my baby boy here.
Who's that in the back?
It's Colt. I am done calling games. Colt now playing varsity receiver and a safety linebacker hybrid starter on defense. So I'm watching in person. I'm no longer calling. I'm enjoying.
I'd come over the middle anytime Colt's there.
No,
without hesitation.
You wouldn't though.
Let's see if we can get 3 runs and get out of here. What do you say?
That'd be great.
Colt, what do you think about the softball team? Pretty good, huh?
Is the run rule, it's only 10 or does it go down to 8? Is it 10 after 4, 8 after 5?
Colt, what is it? What's the run rule? 10 after 4, and then
it's 8 after 5, so you need 1 run. Yeah.
Start stealing.
Jossie says, let Colt call softball game. We don't need that. Thank you all, though, for
that's how you get a strike on the YouTube account.
Yeah, definitely. And me being fired by Bobby. Daniel and Sarah and all y'all, thank y'all for your well wishes for Colt, too. Really do appreciate it. He's doing good.
Yes, 8 or more after 5 complete.
Your health, son. Freshwater Cajun. I think you're just trying to push my buttons now. It's not corn.
So there's somebody asked about Mia Scott and the ACL. She tore it in 8th grade, right? So she just hasn't had an ACL in that knee for
like multiple injuries when she was
5
young,
years.
My understanding.
Yeah.
We'll have to get Mike White on the show next week on Coffee and Football, Jerry.
No doubt.
Let's go ahead and work on that right now while we're waiting.
Just Mia Scott playing without a leg. I heard it might have to be amputated after this game.
I had to text a source one year for I think
Josh.
it was a fall camp update because like somebody saw Kent Perkins get carted off, like going back from Denius to Moncrief in a cart. It ended up being Kent Perkins rolled his ankle till he might have broke his ankle till he might have torn his knee. So when I texted the source who tell me, I was like, is Kent Perkins' leg still attached? Like, is his right leg still attached to his body? Hey, CJ, at the risk of sounding ignorant, can I ask you a Stars question?
Great catch.
Oh, geez.
I might give you something ignorant in response, but yes.
If Jim Montgomery didn't go through his issues several years ago, could he have gotten the Stars over the top and won a cup?
I want to say yes, because those teams always played well above, I thought, the talent level. And the issue I've seen with the Stars recently, not to make this a whole Stars show, but your young stars have not performed. Wyatt Johnson was terrible in the postseason. Jason Robertson last year no showed, didn't do a whole lot until the conference finals here. So it was all about getting the most out of your guys that didn't have a lot. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. How about a walk-off 8-run bomb? Can we get one of those?
Picture 3.
Oh, Seth, I don't have an answer on that. No clue who the front runner for the Stars is. We didn't have great reception in the airport this morning, Jerry. So all the reception we had, we're sending tweets and updates on ontexasfootball.com for official visitors.
Me too, Daniel. 50% chance of rain tonight. I'm glad we got the game in.
Ooh, that was a good swing.
Well, to the 6th we go. Tateman or asked OKC or Pacers. Because I know you're an OKC fan, I'm going Pacers. Take that, Munchkin.
Is that who the youngsters like OKC?
My son does. My son loves them.
Oh, put him on. I'm sure Colt knows this if he's on TikTok. The vault's open. Have him go watch some LeBron highlights.
Oh, Tate. Don't repeat anything. Don't get in this chat with anything I've said over the past few weeks, please. You should instantly know what that means. Do not repeat anything I've said in the chat or to you in the last few weeks.
Jerry, you missed a good one just now, a little Blakeism.
Have to run it back.
Yeah, you're going to enjoy it thoroughly, unfortunately. Oh. If I wasn't red from the sunburn, I probably would have been red from embarrassment.
Derek Best says, watch LeBron highlights. Yep, we're old.
Dude.
I know it made the chat last night and this morning, but it was cool. It was kind of weird and cool at the Texas Elite Camp yesterday, and Brian Arakpo walked up with his kid, who's a freshman, going to be sophomore at Lake Travis. Matthew.
That's terrible.
Ryan Nelson, do I watch his Ralph Sampson highlights? You know what's crazy about what you say that, Ryan Nelson? The ESPN deal that on Coach K, like kind of the tough start and then the class that kind of saved Coach K at Duke. There was a lot of Ralph Sampson highlights in that. So I have seen it recently. I was flipping through the channels one day, and it was like that round table when Billis and Mark Allery and Dawkins and all the guys sat down with Coach K, and they did the kind of that class that got Coach K over the hump when Duke fans wanted him fired. It was actually a pretty cool show. Any football recruiting updates? Nothing yet major on my end, Doug. I mean, the guys just got in mid-afternoon. They go to the hotel, get checked in. They're having some dinner stuff tonight. So really, really early in the process.
They were out on DKR. They had some of the Lamborghinis parked out on the sidelines there. Matthew, if you go to my Twitter, I posted a tweet about 3 or 4 down from Jamarin Carlton's Instagram, just giving an idea of what his Instagram story was like, walking out onto the field, seeing the whole stadium. Pretty cool deal. But it ended up being a pretty nice night out here in Austin, about 90 degrees, so a little toasty, but no rain, no wind really. Good night to be out on the 40 acres. Here it is. You see the Lamborghinis out on the side. That's actually from Josiah Sharma, who's out hosting a few kids, I believe. But you see the walk out to the field. Everybody's, got their phones out, celebrating, being a part of the official visit weekend. And then, they'll be at dinners and hanging out a little bit tonight as well.
Whoa, that's a heck of a play. Wow, that ball bounced up on her just to field that. One thing I'll say was I was wondering who was going to host Malachi Lee. And I think and I'm not saying Texas is going to get Malachi Lee, but Texas smartly put Brandon Baker on Malachi Lee. And the reason I think that is smart is because kind of what we've talked about on Coffee and Football, Brandon Baker, a lot of people thought he'd go to Oregon because his brother played there. But then that Oregon kind of moved on out of that recruitment, or Baker's moved away from Oregon, I should say. And it came down to Ohio State versus Georgia and Texas. And he ended up going SEC. I think and obviously he's a West Coast guy too, but having Brandon Baker host Malachi Lee, I think is a pretty smart move. And I'm not saying Texas is going to get Malachi Lee, but what I do think is if I'm Michigan, I'm really nervous because I think things are trending SEC with Malachi Lee, whether that's Alabama, Georgia, or Texas.
Jerry, can I get your thoughts on this? We haven't necessarily talked. We've kind of touched on it, with a few of the big offensive linemen in this class, but for Michigan specifically, because they're in the Final Four, in the Final Three for John Turntime. They're certainly involved with Felix Ojo. Malachi Lee's in there. Are they in that same kind of, vicinity as Texas as big game hunting offensive lineman-wise? Are they how much of a threat, I guess, are they for one of these big fish?
Yeah, I think they're up against it on all those guys. And so it's going to be interesting to see kind of where it goes for them on OL. Because they're swinging after the right guys, but the three you just mentioned, I think they're up against it on those guys. So I'm actually really interested. And I'm not saying Michigan's not going to have a good class. I'm not sure they have a ton of momentum. And I know they have Larry Ellison and Oracle, and some of that stuff can matter when it comes down to it. But it doesn't matter as much now. We're about to find out what people are going to do after this House settlement. But I'm kind of – they don't lead. I don't think they lead for any of the three guys you just mentioned that Texas is in there for. So I'm very interested to see how it goes for Michigan as far as their top targets on the OL. I mean, obviously they have the kid from Idaho, Kelvin Obot, is one that they're in on as well. But it's a good question because right now, that's a position that now they were heavy portal for a point in time with Harbaugh, but they don't have an OL commitment right now, which is very interesting. And they're bringing in 10 for OVs, so they got some work to do to have none right now.
And I mean, I say it is surprising because under Harbaugh, that was kind of their bread and butter, right? It was the trenches, that development, getting guys into the league, and they're swinging big. I kind of look at it at Texas last year on the defensive line to an extent. Swing big. Maybe you hit with a few, but if you don't, you might be looking at a class that's a little smaller compared to what your numbers desire.
And I was wrong. They have Bear McWhorter from Cartersville, Georgia, as a center guard. They have one guy in the class. But the guys they're swinging on right now, I don't think they're leading for any of those guys or the guys you mentioned.
Not to mention Sharon Moore's an OU grad, so the more recruits they lose, I'm not going to shed a tear for Michigan.
Got the lead runner there. 2 down, boys.
So I just got an interesting text from somebody who really follows this stuff with the South Sentiment. In gathering at the ACC spring meetings last week, Deloitte officials reportedly shared that 70% of past deals from NIL collectives would have been denied.
That's
70%. That's a big number. 70% of deals would have been denied.
Wow.
Obviously, that's all sports.
Yeah. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the SEC's plan, at least on roster limits increasing, was to kind of baby is for football anyway, to kind of gradually build to 105, not just say, hey, go figure out how to fund 20 scholarships in a couple months.
There we go. Boom.
Got her. One more. One run.
Somebody's asking if I have my gooders with me. I certainly do. And for those that haven't been following along, boy, do I. All right. So Mr. 817, Mr. Talk Too Much. So maybe the $1 million pitcher doesn't make it in Lubbock. Yeah, I Mr. Talk Too Much, I can see litigation coming as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, this ain't over.
But I mean, I think there's a reason that Tech just signed her to a new deal
today,
this morning, probably front loaded in a big way.
Whoa. Oregon State just walked it off against Florida State in the Supers. Good.
I like Oregon State.
Oh, Matthew's not here. That's the whole reason I brought it up. He left for a little bit. I got out for a second.
So J Dobb says this is interesting. Don't care what judge says, cannot limit a person's income. What I think is going to be interesting though is, but if we're going for true name, image, and likeness, and it's just been pay for play,
yeah,
I think there is a difference there. So it's going to be tied up in litigation, but is the argument that Mark Bowman in name, image, and likeness is worth more than 18 or 19 or 30 starting tight ends in the NFL? Is he? I don't know, but I do think it's just going to go into litigation.
All right, back to softball here real quick, Jared, because I got a pretty interesting stat. We're through 30 2/3 for Tegan Kavan in the Women's College World Series this year. 30.2. Yeah. She's given up 0 earned runs. The earned run that earlier had been attributed to her has been rescinded. 3 runs scored on her this evening. Obviously, none have been earned. Maybe that's what I need to look up next, but that is really impressive. A 0.00 ERA against Florida, Tennessee, Oklahoma, now 3 games against Texas Tech, all in the Women's College World Series. This could be up there with as impressive a postseason performance. I don't know, name them.
Yeah.
Put in the Kimball Walker run, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Greg Maddox number. Yeah, absolutely.
Something else performance, you can see it down there in the bottom right-hand corner of the team hitting summary. Texas 12 of 25 batting .480 tonight. Look at Tech, 4 of 24 for 167.
Yeah, J Dobbs, it's going. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tied up. There's going to be tons of litigation. It's going to go all the way. I'm an interested observer.
Jerry, I'm sure you've been following Jeff. Y'all have been following the official visit thread online as well. I posted Jamar and Carlton and some of these guys, their bedrooms. You walk in, you got the bed, you got some of the candy, the handwritten cards all over the beds and stuff like that. Jamar and Carlton specifically, to me, was hilarious. I don't know if y'all saw the bed for him.
No.
It looked like it might be a little small for me.
Oh, boy.
Jamar and Carlton's about 6'4.5", 245, 250 pounds right now. I know I posted the tweet earlier of kind of the goodie bags that were laid out on the bed for him whenever he arrived in Austin. I think everybody in the chat was thinking the same thing. How in the world is he going to be able to fit on that bed?
His arms will be hanging off, touching the floor. He's a condor.
You guys think Sark will ever bring back the Charlie Strong or Tom Herman cookie cake for official visits, or
Jim Harbaugh's?
we done with that?
Michigan does have it.
Jerry, that was that. I'm pretty sure my 7-year-old could probably make a better map.
That was amazing. I think it started going bad, and they thought it would be a good joke.
Was it Jordan Phillips? Who was the recruitment?
Jordan Elliott.
Jordan Elliott.
Yeah. Somebody said check Felix Ojo's Michigan IG.
Let me give it a shot.
J Dobbs, yes. I'm not going to bring the question up, but yes, because I don't want all the stalkers over there.
Oh, you
by the way,
yeah,
it's recruits do stay at the Four Seasons, and no, you can't go in. There is strict security there. Now, maybe if you want to pay $800 a night for a room and hang out, feel free.
That part of Austin, good luck trying to find a place to park your car on the street.
Yep. Oh, that ball really short. There's been two bad bounces on shortstops. And,
double off that.
Damon, what's going on? What's going on in the litigation? Nothing yet. The House settlement just passed tonight, but I'm sure by Monday, there's gonna be suits filed.
Well, a lot of folks are out preparing for official visits. Texas was out on the field this morning for what sounds like to us to be a pretty tough workout. At least one Texas player, Colin Simmons, having a nice little refresher this afternoon.
That's much better than a scooter.
I agree. I think David Hamilton would agree.
Man, that's
sorry, Jeff. I knew that would strike a chord.
Whenever anybody asks me, hey, how do you go from winning the conference and being in Omaha to being 27-27 the next year? David Hamilton's scooter accident. That's how that happened.
That's a big one. All right, just hit one out here. The Gooders are lonely. Walker Woolman, we've seen that where somebody DM'd me about the report. I love Trevor Gooseby, but he's not running in the 4.6s.
Let's see.
Is he jumping 40?
I don't know. I got a DM about him hitting like 21 point something on the catapult, and the speed thing, and
aren't they somewhat unreliable too? Like
Yeah.
you can run the same thing 3 times and you're going to get 3 different results. So
Let's state the obvious. Like when his long speed for a left tackle ever mattered?
there you go, Jeff. That's a good point.
Yeah, but it's a fun fodder point for
It is.
All right, wouldn't this be fitting? Reese Atwood up to the plate, 2 on, 1 out. You need 1 run to quote unquote walk off the national championship.
Yeah, let's belt it right here.
Yeah, she just needs to hit it out.
AS85 are Mia Scott and CJ Baxter sharing an AC. Come on, guys.
Man.
Y'all are killing me.
That's awesome.
Y'all are killing me, man.
Get the ban button out of here.
Just to talk too much, I agree. But I think we can all agree Trevor Gooseby's pretty athletic without knowing what he runs in a 40-yard dash.
I've told this story before, but seeing him walk outside of the stadium on or the facility on some of these, that was a nasty slider. Some of these unofficial visit weekends in the spring, and just kind of throwing out a question. Hey man, you think you can still dunk? And I thought he was about to throw me over the side of the wall into the stadium for that question. And he's like, "Of course I can still dunk." I was like, "Just making sure." Sometimes you got to ask.
There we go. Let's see.
All right, give me a call it here, Blake.
Well, she just fouled it again. I don't. The thing is, I know all our streams are a little bit like a couple seconds off of each other. I know we had that problem last night. Jerry was way ahead. Even the chat was like, "Jerry's living in the future."
Man, these Marriotts, for whatever reason, man, your feed is on point.
I think I'm with Jerry tonight, though. So I switched over to the ESPN app, and I'm like neck and neck with Jerry tonight. I was using Hulu last night.
Oof.
Oh, you can't swing it that one.
But Lincoln's celebrating now, but then Mia Scott's walking up.
Yeah. That's the problem.
Oh, a little half swing. That's this. I say this College World Series is going to be unfortunate for me, for Reese Atwood. I say that loosely, but she's not been great at the plate. Obviously, had her great moment game 1, 2 for 4 tonight. But I say it's unfortunate because she came into the postseason or the World Series hitting north of 400. We talked about the four girls at the top of the lineup hitting north of 400. Well, she's at 394 now, so going to end her season right there. It appears to me, at least.
Yeah, Katie Stewart now up to bat.
Yeah,
383 on the season. Already down in the count 0-1 with 2-1. Make that 0-2.
Yes, Daniel Atwood barely missed a homer last night. 5 feet foul.
Yeah, that was close, man.
Yeah, they've had a few this series, just right in that little cubby, right down the left field line.
First game and second game, both of them.
When runs were really a premium.
Yeah.
See what? No.
Ooh, didn't call it. That could have gone either way, in my opinion.
Hold on.
The replay.
They're throwing the pitch right now for me. Oh, no, didn't go.
Whoa. Had to look a little bit closer on the replay.
Yeah, I was a little iffy on that one.
Runners on the corner. Or on second and third, excuse me. Man, you just need a base hit. Let's go. Well, or strikeout. Well, we're going to the 7th, boys.
I got you guys muted. I want to watch in real time just in case.
Do or die. 10-3. Texas still on top, obviously, going to the top of the 7th.
All right, we're going the distance.
That's all right.
Just as God intended, softball played 7 innings.
Oh, well, let's see here. Let's look at some questions because Wilderness 81. Will guarding Smith change with Barron and Makuba gone? So will it, guys? The Ohio State receiver. Do you see a change in plans there?
You'll have to you can't come out with the same plan you had last year. I mean, they ran a lot of 3 high last year. So, and they were pretty much determined, hey, if Emeka Ibuka or G. Scott or, whoever it was, Carnell Tate, they can beat them underneath. They were willing to give them that. But, man, you're going to have to mix it up. Communication on the back end is going to be important early with those guys going. Jerry, I think you just got to go in and assuming, like, look, you can't assume you're going to hold Jeremiah Smith to 1 catch for 3 yards for a second game in a row.
No, I think both teams are going to say, all right, guys, y'all lost 4 or 5 starting offensive linemen. Arch's first big start on the road, first year starting quarterback. Ohio State will be his first start ever. We're going to bring the heat and see who handles it up front and at the quarterback position. I think you're going to see a little bit different game plan out of Texas. I think you're going to try to not not do it to the point of it being dumb, but I think you're going to bring the heat more and see how Ohio State's offensive line and quarterback handles it. And I would expect Ohio State to do the same to Texas.
Yeah, we're not talking, Manny Diaz Xbox blitzes, but your guys that have been there, Anthony Hill, Ethan Burke, even Trey Moore, Colin Simmons, those guys have played enough football in this defense. Their foundation of what PK system is all about is there. Now you can evolve it and start to get a little bit more exotic. And I'm with you, Jerry. Game one, whether it's Julian Sand, whoever's starting for Ohio State, see what the kid can handle.
And the offensive line can handle.
Yeah. You forget they lost.
I think it's going to be I think it's going to be an amped up pressure game for offensive line and quarterbacks.
When we talk about what Texas lost on the offensive line, Ohio State lost 2 first-rounders on that offensive line.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, who said that? Buck Travis, we need better recruiting classes in softball. Mike White signed the number 5 recruiting class this past season. He said the SEC's lapping us. Yeah, 4 of those 5 are SEC schools, but you still have a top 5 class. And you took a small class because you're not losing a lot this year.
I was going to say, in softball, similarly to baseball, I feel like most of your immediate damage that you do in a given year is done via the portal.
Yeah.
And Texas obviously has done very well out of the portal recently. And, Blake, I think you hit the nail on the head. You don't need to bring in that number when this lineup doesn't see a lot of turnover.
Yeah. And all 7 of them in the top 65 in the nation. So,
jeez.
Yeah.
So Seth Alcozer has a question here. Jeff and Jerry, what's been your non-favorite football or basketball athletes you've covered at Texas? It's not going to be covered necessarily, but I'll tell you who I had an unbelievable respect for was Bo Hostler in the national championship when his shoulder came out of socket and played the last 2 holes and putted the ball from the back bunker and ended up getting up and down and getting Texas to the national championship match. But obviously with his shoulder was so they weren't going to win it. But I always had a ton of respect, even though it was golf. I don't care. Bo Hostler, and when that shoulder came apart on him and he found a way to get up and down out of that bunker to get Texas to the national championship match, I always thought that was pretty amazing, man.
Yeah.
Kid that always wanted to go to Texas and competed till he couldn't compete anymore.
I could go with a number of baseball guys. Tres Barrera was one of those guys. I was upset that I had to miss when we had Ben Johnson on bases loaded because I remember Ben coming up as a high school quarterback at Westwood High in Round Rock. Ben's was Nathan Thornhill's another one. Nathan Thornhill's another high school quarterback from the Austin area who ended up being really good at Texas. I'll tell you what of the recent guys, I just if he's on your team, you love him. If he's not, you probably hate him. And great personality. The Trey Faltini was awesome. Like you need a guy like that they're almost looking for a reason to scrap.
I thought you were going to say Cody Clemens with that lead up.
Yeah, Cody. Yeah, there was no false bravado with Cody. Cody had swag, but Trey Faltini was. Man, I remember the 21 season. They're playing Kansas State at home, and there's like a little dust up at home plate. And like Trey Faltini comes in from the on deck circle and gets himself thrown out for shoving someone in the chest.
Good play and left.
Great job.
Just real quick. Ooh. Well, wait for this play to.
Dude, Katie Stewart just slammed into that wall. Like that had to hurt like hell.
Yeah, it did. Great job, though.
Wow.
You heard it, too, on the replay.
Just to finish that conversation, Taylor Teagarden was the reason why I loved Texas growing up.
Hey, man, I'll tell anybody who listens, my first favorite Longhorn in any sport was Brooks Kiesnick.
Oh!
I'm a little bit behind y'all on my feed.
Sorry. Nothing happened.
Liar. Hey, here's a good question, Jerry, for you, and then I got another good one for all of you here. Jerry, who's one high school player that you see rising up the recruiting ranks after his senior season? So get out your fortune telling ball there.
Yeah, let me look at. I'm looking at the list of kids I really like in the state. There's some, Christian Rowe, but he's already ranked high. The running back at Lake Highlands, if he has a big year, he's already ranked high. That one may not be fair to say, really. I was seeing if there was somebody that was injured last year. I mean, I think Donovan Webb's underrated nationally. That guy's, I mean, how many safeties have 225 tackles in 2 years in high school football and 9 interceptions? I'm seeing if there's anybody I really like. I like Julian Hugo, committed to Arizona State as an edge 5 tech. He's a good looking cat, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I would throw him in there as a guy for me. The running back Isaiah Lee at Lancaster is a really good player. I love Primus, the offensive guard at Midland. He's just caught in a unbelievable offensive line class. Oh, I'll tell you who it is. It's the 2 San Marcos kids.
There you go.
Henry Harris.
And the linebacker.
Isaiah Young.
No.
Isaiah Young and Henry Harris, because they've had to play JV football because of the BS recruiting rule that San Marcos ruling they got from the UIL. Those kids had to play JV the last 2 years. They're just now going to play varsity this year.
Henry Harris has been hurt too, Jerry. He's had the linebacker's the one to watch, and he's camping with Texas next Thursday.
We're not doing this obstruction deal again.
No, that better not be obstruction.
No,
it's wide open for her to get in. That's routine.
The home plate umpire called her safe.
That's terrible call.
Out.
Yeah, boy, you can tell Tegan's starting to get a little fatigued. 109 pitches. But that's out all the way. And if not, then I don't know what to say. It can't be obstruction. If so, the rule needs to be fixed.
I mean, is she not out?
I don't know how you make that safe call initially. And it's weird because it's the home plate umpire that made it.
I mean, she's out.
And that's a great point, Jeff. How is the home plate umpire even in a position to make that call?
Yeah.
There's no way. This isn't high school. You have just 2 on the field.
This is such a bad ruling. I think this sport is awesome. I think it's high pace. I think it's electric. There's a lot of action, but this is ridiculous.
The crews in OKC have been on a struggle bus, for being honest.
That's terrible call. That's one of the worst calls I've seen in softball. If that holds, it is, period. But if that holds,
the way it should hold.
By the way, 4 runs scored for Texas Tech tonight. Adding to the theme, 0 earned for Tegan.
Yeah.
And if Texas holds on to win tonight, they'll have 8 errors in the 3 games.
4 of those came the first game.
Like, what? Why are we taking so long here? Like, this is.
Yeah, that should be open and shut. You're done. Like, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. You're out.
Oh.
Well, these guys get paid by the minute.
You shouldn't.
You have the ball. You can be anywhere you want.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, there was a clear path to the base regardless because of how she was straddling the bag.
Was that Super Dave Osborne at the replay monitor? I need another angle at that dude. That was like Super Dave.
Let's go to a rules expert for.
Is there like a Mike Pereira or Dean Blandino of softball? replay.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
out
yes,
as it should be. And again, to Jeff's point, the home plate umpire cannot make that call. That's ridiculous.
Okay, so she's out at third. 1 out away, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, y'all been ruthless on the replay official.
So we're down to 1.
Tegan went Nolan Ryan, said, come see this in your eyes. Dang.
Of course, Lauren Allred, I think, was the batter that had that 13 pitch at bat at the beginning. If memory serves me correctly.
There it is.
Here it is.
Texas wins the national championship, boys.
Ball game.
Double gooders for national championship.
Congrats. That's awesome.
I got the confetti popped ready. Here we go.
Uh-oh. Get me out of the way.
Hey.
And the
God,
cleanup
this is a
afterwards.
mess.
Matt, we need some horns.
Oh,
Mike
Some
White,
applause.
man. Congrats to Mike White.
Oh, so awesome. And a big thank you to
Sorry, no tortilla.
a big thank you to Coach White and multiple members of his team for coming
Yes.
on this year. We're gonna, like I said, I've already sent a text. We'll have him on next week on Coffee and Football. So, also, just I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but for those really wanting to celebrate the win, I'd be watching social media over the next day or two. Surely,
Yeah.
I can say that. Sure.
It'll be corn dogs and mayo Monday on Coffee and Football.
That's right. For Bobby Burton, right, Jenny?
Yes.
I got to get a broom.
Well, W.A. Jones says, break out the lawnmower. Well, you know what? I am on the road. I got that too.
Never a dull moment. We'll end it that way. Oh, but congratulations to them. Hard-fought battle. Started the season number 1, going to finish the season number 1, and now they get to hoist the trophy. Very cool.
I'm traveling in style, guys. Sorry, we got the gooders, we got the handyman, we got the 5.0, all our manscaping tools on the road. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. We got what Bobby Petronic calls it, the Grundle bundle.
I forgot I had that sound in the sound bank. That's the only one I can never get to work, but it's a good one. Oh, so Texas wins. It's awesome. So my question to y'all is, who do you name MVP before we get out of here?
Tegan Kavan, Mia Scott, flip a coin.
Yeah,
I think you have to go Tegan Kavan. 0 earned runs over 31.2.
Probably. Yeah.
I think as good as Mia was, as timely as she was,
Yeah. Yeah.
as much conversation that we had about pitchers in this, I mean, you don't allow to earn run. I mean, that's
true. 100%. I agree.
yeah. I'm with you. I'm with Jeff. I think it's that close. And a lot of people, it's really split down the middle, 50-50 in the chat.
Zero earned runs in 31. She was named most things. Good call, CJ. 0 earned runs in 31 2/3.
Wow.
Unfreaking.
That makes Oral Hershiser blush.
That's dominating. Absolutely dominating. Of course, WCWS record there. But congratulations. It was fun doing this too.
No, it was awesome. It was awesome.
And I know track still got some things to finish this weekend, but man, what a hell of an athletic year on the 40.
Yep. Without a doubt. And the
CFP
future looks bright.
CFP semifinal in football, women's Final Four, basketball, baseball wins the SEC championship, softball.
Bob Bowman won swimming first year.
Volleyball. Successful.
Rowing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And again, I mean, it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon, guys. That's the good thing.
I mean, and Coffee and Football has grown by 40,000. Kind of like a national championship.
I don't know. The minute we get Bobby one Mayo corn dog is when we've hit our biggest accomplishment.
I think subscriber count immediately goes to 100,000 when Bobby eats the Mayo corn dog. If he would just go ahead and sacrifice it and do it now.
So. I'm so happy for Mike White. I mean, can you imagine Going to the College World Series 7 times and never winning it.
And 3 out of the last 4.
Yep.
Or 2 out of the last 3, excuse me.
Yep. I mean, those are some tough off seasons. I'm really for the players, but for Mike White personally, I'm really excited for him. Really happy for him.
Jerry, I was in Oklahoma City last year, and he's in the press conference. The losing team in the championship series goes first, and he's giving a response, and he just kind of stops himself mid-response and says, maybe one day I'll be the coach doing the second press conference.
Yeah.
Well, he gets to do the second press conference this year.
No doubt.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, guys, it's going to do it for tonight's Watch With Us / Bases Loaded. And we kind of pushed them together. Probably the last Bases Loaded of the year. Although I am working on one more thing up my sleeve, so maybe we'll squeeze one more out. But it's been fun. We'll be back Monday morning with coffee and football, and then
coffee and mayo and corn dogs. Coffee and corn dogs Monday.
That's right. And just remember, when you wake up tomorrow, only 84 days away to kickoff in Columbus, so you can start. No, I did not decorate. This is our living room. My wife, obviously, on that one. No Christmas trees right now, though. But yeah, 84 days when you wake up tomorrow morning, and Texas is a national championship.
Put your little Jordan Humphrey jersey on.
There you
Jordan
go.
Washington.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. It was a lot of fun. Hope you had fun joining us. And for Jerry Hamilton, who I think accidentally exited out a little early, Jeff Howe and CJ Vogel, I'm Blake Monroe. And we